What is up, everyone, and welcome to the Game Week 4 deadline stream. How are you guys doing? Let me just quickly check if we are live. Let me know if you can hear me. Welcome to the stream. Let me know if I'm audible and we can kind of get it started, get it going. Welcome to another stream. Welcome to another deadline. It's about an hour and a half, I think, to go. If we've kind of got the deadlines right, let's just hope it's like that. So it's, I think, 11 p.m. the deadline, and I think it's going to be a very, very interesting one. I'm particularly interested and excited because of the fact that there's so much chaos, as always, in FPL. There's so much confusion happening. We've had this major kind of conversation around the midfielders, around which ones to go for, which ones to get rid of. So I think there's a lot of kind of questions that people have in terms of, what kind of players to target and how to strategize in terms of, which are the best moves for your team. Of course, it can be different for different people, but please do let me know if you have any questions, if you have anything that you want to ask, you want to check. You can also talk about transfer window, which I think just got about shut. I saw a tweet about the transfer window from Fabrizio, and I think so he's mentioned the transfer window in Germany is officially closed, and we kind of also talk about the new incoming players in terms of how they are going to impact, and there are a few spicy options that have kind of come up, and I think it's going to be very, very interesting to kind of talk about them, see what impact are they going to have from an FPL point of view in the Premier League. And I think it's going to be very, very interesting and exciting. So sit tight, have your beverage ready, or if you've not had your dinner, have it right now, because I think at the later stages it's going to be very, very chaotic. And don't leave the transfers till very late today, because I'm expecting a lot of people to make a lot of moves, maybe a fair amount of transfers at the end. So just make sure that you are, kind of sure about your moves at least 15-20 minutes before the deadline. So I think we'll take it from there. And of course, please keep adding any questions, etc., that you have. And I think, we'll take it from there. Great. Hello to you. Welcome to the stream. Welcome all of you again. If you've just joined us, who should I take out for Madison? I have Rashford, Martinelli, Saka, Mitoma, Puemo. Should I keep or save my transfer? So I think Madison is a very important option, or a very important player that has kind of come up this week. I think the signs were there, and from the fixtures, from the 3 games that we've seen of Tottenham playing, we can kind of fairly make that assumption that, most of whatever Tottenham is doing in terms of attack is gonna go through him. Now, very interestingly, Tottenham haven't really had that kind of a player in a long time, who's the sort of a creator role, because a lot of the time, it's the onus has been on Son, has been on Kane. That's why we've kind of seen Kane dropping deep, trying to play that, a support striker of sorts, and then also kind of scoring goals and all that stuff. But I think this is very interesting because we can actually see the true potential of Tottenham and their strikers and their attackers. And I think Madison is going to be a huge keg, or a very important part of it. Plus, no Europe also kind of helps them in a way where, they can focus entirely on the league. They're already out of the EFL Cup as well, and I think that's also going to be very, very good for Madison. So I think, to be honest, Rashford, Martinelli, Saka, all of them are great options in isolation. I know a lot of people are selling them. I understand the logic behind selling them. One logic is that you do not want 3 or 4 or maybe 5 players. Let's say if you have a Saliba, for example, you don't want those many options from one single fixture, which is absolutely fine. But then we also have to figure out, or keep in mind, that it's just not one fixture. Yes, of course, you might take a hit, you might not optimize your team or your score this week, but then ultimately you will have some decent fixtures coming up for these teams. So there's nothing wrong with keeping all of these players in. But I think Mitoma is someone, considering the fact that Brighton have also signed Fati from Barcelona, I think there is going to be some rotation or some minutes shaved off there. Brighton are also playing in Europa. I don't know if I kind of forgot about that as well, but they are playing in Europa. There's going to be some rotation, and I'm expecting Mitoma to maybe miss out an odd game here and there. Plus, the fixtures right now are a bit tricky. So I think if I had to take one out, I probably will take out Mitoma, because Buemo, Rashford, Martin, Saka are absolutely fine picks. You can take Mitoma out and get Madison. I think that's a pretty sound and a logical move, because Madison has 2 tricky fixtures, and I think Arsenal and Liverpool, you can say that they're tricky, but from an attacking point of view, I think Tottenham can still do well. Both those defenses aren't really that great in terms of keep. It is looking like that they're not very comfortable keeping clean sheets right now, and I think Madison in that form could do some damage there. So I think Mitoma to Madison would be my move here. Is it too late to join my league? No, it's not. You can join the league. I think you'll find the league code on the screen as well. Just follow the league code, enter that, and I think you should be good to go. We've kept it a little bit more open, or open for a slightly longer time this time around. Maybe by next week or after the international break is when we'll close it. So you can join it if you want. Hi, would you start Estupiñán versus Newcastle or Colville versus Nottingham Forest? Bearing in mind that I'm already starting Chilwell, I think it's okay to start or maybe double up on the Chelsea defense. Colville looks like that he's going to start against Forest. I don't think so. He's going to get benched. So from that perspective, it looks like that you're going to get two starting options, two good options, having a good fixture. Now, there's always a possibility that Chelsea concede a dodgy goal. Chelsea may not keep a clean sheet, and Nottingham Forest are a decent attack. I mean, yes, they're quite poor defensively, but I would not really take it past them to not score a goal against Chelsea. On the other hand, Estupiñán versus Newcastle looks a bit difficult. Newcastle's defensive numbers are still pretty decent, and I think Newcastle is going to be a tricky game. Yes, Estupiñán can also give you some attacking threat, which maybe a Colville probably is not going to give you. But I think from a logical point of view, I think Colville and doubling up with Chilwell could really give you that advantage. If your heart says it's Estupiñán because of the attacking threat or because of the attacking prowess that Brighton has showed in particular, then maybe you go with him. But the logical move here is absolutely going with Colville and doubling up with Chilwell. I think it's absolutely fine. Hey, what's a good time for wildcard? So there are a couple of windows for wildcard. A lot of people are planning to use their wildcard after the international break. That's why there's so many people looking at West Ham options, considering the fact that West Ham has Luton this week. So after the international break, you always have some injuries, maybe some players, having some niggles. Plus, there are some decent fixtures for Newcastle coming up. Yes, they have this crazy Champions League group, and if you're not aware of the Champions League group that they are in, I think it's probably one of the toughest groups I have seen in the Champions League format. So I think it's going to be a lot of rotation. It's going to be Newcastle playing a lot of important players in these huge games. Then they also have EFL. They're playing Man City in the EFL Cup game as well. So there is a slight doubt, and I think the advantage that a wildcard in Game Week 6 gives you is probably jumping on to Chelsea assets for at least the next 2-3 weeks, also kind of taking care of your Newcastle assets. I think those are 2 or 3 different factors which you'll probably get by using a wildcard in Game Week Game Week 5. That's going to be one thing. There's also a window of Game Week 8 to 9 where there are fixture swings for certain teams. I mean, I think you have the likes of Liverpool have a decent run of fixtures. Tottenham also has a decent run. Then Brighton kind of move past from their tricky run of fixtures, so you can always jump back on them. Then there's Newcastle, etc. as well. So there are a few teams who have some decent fixtures. I think Game Week 8 to 9 could be a decent window, also because the fact that we will have about 7 or 8 weeks of information, 7 or 8 weeks of data as well. We'll see which teams are performing well, we'll see which teams are are the ones to target, which are the players to target. Transfer window is now finished or almost kind of finished, and then we'll also see those players settling into those teams, seeing what's impact or what kind of impact they are having from an FPL point of view. So I think having that 3 or 4 week of information is probably pretty good. In case if you are pretty sorted, or in case if your team is absolutely fine, you can even stretch it later to Game Week 13-14, maybe closer to the second wildcard as well. That's probably going to give you an advantage in certain terms, in case if you have a good team ready, or if you target the right set of players at the right time. So these are 2-3 different windows that you can target, and again, depending on your team, depending on how you're feeling about certain players, how you're feeling about certain certain options, etc., I think you can make that call. We have Eze since Game Week 1, still have him. I think you can still keep Eze. I think, I mean, it's still okay to give him a couple of chances. I understand that, you're probably missing out on certain points, considering the fact that there's so many good options out there. I think Eze, he looks like a sort of a burden player right now, but I think this week it's Wolves. I mean, they can do well. Aston Villa is also an attack first team, so they're not that great defensively, to be very honest. And I think Crystal Palace could do well. Plus, then there's Fulham as well. United also, at least till now, I have not had that confidence in United that they can keep clean sheets. And I think, that could be a decent game. Then it's Forest. Newcastle, Tottenham, Game Week 9-10 is probably where you would probably think about, selling your Crystal Palace options if they are performing well. But I think give it a shot, or give it a chance, or give him a chance this week. I know a lot of people are not considering Eze because of the fact that there's, Mbomo. There's also the fact that some people might just stick with the Mitoma, might stick with the March, or some cheaper Brighton midfielder that they have. Then of course you have the likes of Foden, Madison, Sterling. So there's so many options, so many glittery options that you probably are not gonna kind of look at Eze. There's Diaby as well. People are going for Bowen as well. So I think in isolation he's absolutely fine. Try him out for this week. If it doesn't work out, you can jump on a different option next week. Hello. The template is moving in sync so far. I mean, it is. It is kind of changing. It is kind of shifting from week to week. There are some options that have come up this week. I mean, I think Sterling is going to be a very popular option. May not be as high as, say 70, 80, 90, that sort of a percentage. But I think the likes of Madison, if Sterling, if they do well this week, I think the ownership is going to skyrocket. I anyways think that they are already into that 10, 15, 20%, ownership of sorts. And I think it's just going to get more and more. So I think because of the fact that there's so many options and also so many people are going to go towards these options, it's always going to be very difficult. Or at least I think that at this stage of the season, it's probably going to be a little tricky to find those hidden gems. There's still the likes of Diaby, Bowen, and a couple of other options. Even in attackers, I think Visa is also now quite popular option. There's Alvarez. So I mean, there are still a couple of decent picks that you can look at in terms of differentials. But yeah, I mean, moving away from the template and actually successfully defeating the template is going to be tricky this season. Hey Soumya, hello to you. Welcome to the stream. Is Rashford, Mitoma to Madison, Foden worth -4? It could be. I can't say that it's not absolutely worth a -4 and you should not do it, because ultimately Rashford might just blank, Mitoma might just blank, and then Madison, Foden, considering the fact that they have some better fixtures or decent fixtures, I mean, there's always a possibility that they can recover the hit if you take out Rashford, Mitoma. I personally would do it because I'm that sort of a manager who likes to play a bit more attacking. I already got Foden last week, got burned because of the fact that it was a very poor game week. I'm expecting Foden to do well this week. Then I have one free transfer, and I'm planning to get in Madison, also get in Sterling, take out Mitoma and Martinelli. So similar sort of transfers, and I think it could be absolutely worth it. I mean, there's always a chance that a Rashford or Mitoma outscore these other options, but then that's a chance you take. You look at what you want over the slightly medium to long term as well, and I think I'm personally quite comfortable holding the likes of Sterling and Madison as well. So if that is also your consideration, if it's just a 1 week switch and you'll probably panic next week, try to get in Bruno or try to get in some other option, maybe don't do it, because it's the chances of them beating a -4 this week might be a lot lesser. So I think other than that, it's okay. I mean, they can absolutely smash it this week and you won't even remember the -4 that you've taken. So I think go with your gut. If you feel that they're going to do well, absolutely go for it. If you have your doubts, then maybe just give options like a Mitoma or Rashford one more week. Martinelli to Foden, Sterling, Madison. I would definitely take out Martinelli, especially out of Saka, Rashford, Bruno, etc. I think Martinelli is probably the one that I'll take out. And if I'm going with one option, I think you have to kind of see what are you expecting out of this particular player or this particular option. If you feel, or if you're okay with the risk, if you're okay with playing, with fire in the Man City team, and you want to play the Pep roulette, I think Foden is a very explosive option. He's probably the highest upside pick out of all these three options, because the fact that you would expect Sterling to start most games. You'll also expect Madison to start most games. They don't have Europe as well. Foden has Champions League. Foden also has the EFL Cup game against Newcastle, and let's assume if they beat Newcastle, they'll obviously progress further in the tournament as well. So there could be some rotation with Foden, which may not happen with the Sterling or a Madison. So if you're okay with the risk, I think the highest upside pick, the most aggressive pick, or the pick that could be the most explosive is Foden. Then it's probably Sterling in terms of explosiveness. And if you want a very safe option, if you don't want to take a lot of chances, if you want a player who's probably going to give you consistent 6 to 8 points, maybe 10 points, maybe even get a double-digit haul, one odd game here and there, I think then Madison is a good option. So depending on your risk appetite, depending on your objective, if you're looking for a long-term option, I think Madison is a great pick. If you're looking for a short-term player who could give you that right, burst of points, I think Sterling is a very explosive option, and I think Foden, is definitely for the risk takers. If I had to rank all these three picks, I think it's probably going to be, Foden, Madison, and Sterling for me. I know it might not be a popular ranking, but if I have to rank them, it's probably going to be Foden, Sterling, and Foden, Madison, Sterling. I'm thinking about wildcarding in game week 8 to 10. I think that's going to be a popular window. We'll have some information, we'll get some data, we'll also would have assessed certain, let's say certain patterns, certain things that we pick up from a footballing sense, and I think that is a decent window considering the fact that there are a couple of teams having some good fixture swings. I think we can definitely do that. Rashford, Bruno out, Sterling in. If I'm taking one out, I'll take Rashford out. I think Bruno's numbers are really good. He's been a bit unlucky not to get those many returns, but I think he's the one who's looking really good in the United attack. Now, things could be very different from this week. Maybe next week if Holland comes, and he plays the number 9. We have Amrabat as well. Then there's Reguilon as well. Let's say if Shaw's out and Reguilon is somehow able to, fill his position. I think the presence of Amrabat should help the likes of Bruno even, push further. So that really enhances Bruno's overall FPL potential, football potential, FPL potential. Again, it's too early to kind of draw that conclusion, but I think I can make a safe assumption there. Also, with the fact that Holland, is probably going to play as a number 9, I think Rashford is going to shift on the left side, and we've already seen that he's a much, much, much better player when he's playing on the left side. So it's a bit of a tricky one because Rashford may not have done that great so far, but he, may end up doing really well in the next coming games, right? So you may go back and see and look at his performances and feel that, you shouldn't have probably taken him out. So that's the chance that you have to probably take. Sterling, we've seen Sterling play against Luton. I know there's a lot of people talking about it was just Luton and maybe it's not going to happen. But in general, if you've seen Chelsea play, if you've seen Sterling's demeanor, if you've seen Sterling play, there looks to be something different about him. He looks to be back in confidence. He's spoken about how he wants to be Chelsea's top scorer this season. And all of those things, kind of help us to make that FPL call where we think that, yes, he's going to be my guy. He's going to be my Chelsea attacker right now. And I think that those are the vibes that Sterling is giving us right now. So I think overall, Sterling could be a great option, could be a massive flop as well. I think it's probably too early. And if I had to kind of, make a safe bet on a Sterling or a Maddison, I think it probably would have been Maddison. So if you want a safe option, as I said earlier as well, absolutely safe, a good point stickler who'll just score 6, 8, 10 points week on week and be very consistent, you go Maddison. Bowen is a great pick if you are okay if you are wildcarding in game week 5. I think he's a great option. You can get him this week. It's against Luton. Players playing on the side where Bowen is playing. Those options or those picks have done really well in FPL so far. So I think I'm expecting Bowen to have a strong game, a good game. A massive double-digit haul is also possible. And then you move on because the fixtures after that actually get a bit tricky. If you look at the fixtures of West Ham, after that, it's Man City, Liverpool. They're going to be tricky games. Sheffield is a good game. Then it's Newcastle, Aston Villa. So they're not easy games. Considering the fact that there's so many good options in midfield, I think you can easily venture elsewhere and just have Bowen for a 1-week punt, but move out of him or move off him, especially on a wildcard. I don't think so he's worth a move if you don't have a wildcard. If you don't have a free transfer or maybe you're taking a hit and all those things, I don't think so. In those scenarios, Bowen makes sense. Safer Maddison, slightly more aggressive is Sterling. What's my transfer plan? So my transfer plan is Mitoma to Maddison right now. Also thinking about Martinelli to Sterling. So those will be my two transfers, sorry. I have one free transfer, so I'll be taking a hit. I'm comfortable taking a hit. I know a lot of people are saying that Martinelli might do well. I also said the same thing. But I'm risking it. I am okay taking a chance. It's the early part of the season. We can kind of make these moves. Rank right now doesn't really matter a lot. Of course, my rank still plummeted from, I think, maybe 80k or 100k or something like that to 500k, almost 600k in 1 week. So ranks can still kind of go haywire, but I think I'm pretty comfortable taking that hit and making the switch. Is Disasi nailed in the Chelsea defense? He looks nailed. There are a couple of positions that he can play in as well. If Chelsea's playing in a back three, he can basically be one-sided or I think left-sided. He plays left-sided centre back if I'm not wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he will play the centre back. If they are playing a back four, then he can also play on the right. I think it's probably on the right. He can also play on the right side of defense. So there are a couple of positions that he can play in. There is versatility, and I think he looks like a decent option. He looks like a nailed option. But I mean, if I'm looking at defenders from Chelsea, I still feel it's Chilwell. I think a lot of people are talking about Malo Gusto as well, sorry. But I still feel with Reece James coming in, maybe a week later, 2 weeks later. I mean, there's always that thing that's gonna be, on his head, that he will lose his place ultimately to the Chelsea captain, and that's definitely gonna happen, right? So maybe 2 weeks, maybe 1 week, so you might get lucky. Maybe 3 weeks, who knows? But there's always that risk. So I think that's where I am in terms of the Chelsea defenders. But the bullet and sold Salah to slightly restructure. I mean, it kind of makes sense to restructure your team, especially when Salah is not allowing you to get towards the likes of Foden, Buemo, Saka. I mean, not Martinelli. Martinelli's already there in most of the teams, but a Sterling, for example, I think he gives us that flexibility. Plus, he also enables us to have some additional cash. Maybe you want to upgrade a Joao Pedro. I think a lot of people, yes, they are in messy situations with a Gabriel, with maybe a particular defender not starting, getting injured, and all that stuff. But I think a lot of people also have Pedro, and a Pedro to, you need cash to replace Pedro, right? Not the Villa cash, but you need money to replace Pedro, because the fact that he's so cheap and there aren't really some great options around his price range. You need cash, and I think with Salah you can do all of this, and then you can also have some money in the bank. So I think that probably is the right way to go, unless we see Salah really firing. I mean, imagine a world where Salah actually goes to the Saudi League and Salah is not even in the Premier League anymore. I think FPL kind of becomes boring, because then there are probably a couple of less decisions to take. And I think that's what happened with Kane as well. Huge loss to the Premier League, huge loss to FPL, but that's what happens, in transfer windows, etc. And that's was probably supposed to happen with Kane and Spurs anyway. So let's see. I think, but yeah, taking off Salah can actually help us restructure in a much better way and have a better balanced squad. I've already used my free transfer on Udoke, and I'm willing to take a -4 for Madison. Sterling for Mitoma out, or is it wrong? Out of Mitoma and Rashford, I'll probably take out Mitoma, considering the fact that Brighton are going to play in Europa. There's going to be competition. He may lose his minutes or may get limited minutes. I think Rashford, especially with Holland coming in, I think there could be some change in his fortune and in his form as well. And he's probably going to play in his effective position, or the most effective position that he can play at, or in the United team. So I think if I'm taking one out of Mitoma and Rashford, I think I'll take out Mitoma. I'll keep Rashford, take a chance with him for a couple of weeks, maybe at least 1 week, and then probably move him out if necessary. To be honest, Madison, Sterling, yes, they're good options this week, but you don't necessarily have to get them both, especially for a -8. Again, it's probably going to be slightly tricky for that -8 to recover this week. Likely chances of that not getting recovered, but if your plan is to hold these two options, as I said earlier, Madison and Sterling can be held for some decent amount of game weeks, maybe at least for the next 4 to 5 game weeks. In that scenario, that hit might well be worth it. On the other hand, you have Rashford, Mitoma. Mitoma is probably going to be an okay sell, because the fact that they're going to be tricky fixtures coupled with limited minutes or slightly reduced minutes, and you may never know, he may not be as effective as he was last season. So I'm willing to take that bet on Mitoma more than I'm willing to take that bet on Rashford right now, and I think that's where I am. -8, I probably won't do it. If one of Madison or Sterling, let's say if you get Madison, he does okay this week, or maybe doesn't do anything, don't take him out. And if Sterling absolutely explodes, it's fine. You take that 1 week of score that you've lost on your chin, and then you get Sterling from next week, and then you can make this move as a free transfer and probably not even take a hit. So I think, yes, there could be some small term loss, or whatever you call it, but I don't think this is going to matter a huge lot, because you anyways will be getting onto this particular player as soon as possible. So I think that's where it is. But yeah, players like Rashford, players like Martinelli, etc., I don't think so. They are absolutely sells. Mitoma is probably, I am kind of inching towards him, or having that belief that it's okay to sell him, and probably it's better to sell him, considering the fact that there are all these different options in midfield that have come up. The Brighton roulette will be terrible now. That's what I also think, since there are more joinees, or more people, or more players that have joined. I think there's got to be a lot of rotation, and I think let's see what happens. But I'm expecting Brighton midfielders to lose or shave off some minutes of their overall game time. I think it's okay to kind of move away from them. Is it worth to sell either Rashford, Bruno, or Bruno to Madison, Sterling, or hold the transfer, have 2 free transfers for after the international break? I think having 2 free transfers for the international break is great, because the fact that there might be injuries, there might be certain players who have lost their positions, there might be somebody else who's now in form and who's starting games. So it's great that you have 2 free transfers, but and the fact that you don't have to take out Rashford, Bruno, to Maddison, Sterling. I think if Maddison, Sterling both play really well or both do really well, there's probably going to be a okayish amount of rank loss. But if, let's say, somebody like a Rashford or Bruno absolutely explodes, maybe scores a brace, etc., I think that can be easily covered off as well. So it's not a necessary sell, but if you have to sell one, maybe, and then kind of see, what's your long-term or short-term plan with that particular incoming player. I think I'm more comfortable selling Rashford, as I've already mentioned. And if I'm looking for a slightly more explosive, risky pick, it's going to be Sterling. If it's going to be a safer option, I think it's going to be Maddison. Please suggest doing Martinez, Sterling, to Sterling, Maddison, and Pickford to Flecken. Pickford to Flecken looks good. I never considered Pickford a great option anyways. I mean, if you've seen my earlier drafts, drafts before the game week 1 or the game week 1 deadline, I've never really spoken about him. I don't think so. He's a great option anyway. I think Flecken could be a good buy. Not a lot of people are kind of looking towards Flecken. And I think Brentford, and I'm still not that confident with Brentford keeping clean sheets, and that's the reason I went with Henry and not Flecken, because at least with Henry, yes, you will probably lose that clean sheet, which anyways will happen with the Flecken as well. But then with Henry, you get the attacking threat, which of course Flecken is probably not going to give you, right? So Pickford to Flecken is still okay. I don't have a problem with it. Martin to Sterling, Maddison, the same reasoning. Sterling, the more explosive option. If you're okay with the risk, I think you go Sterling. Maddison's your safer option, safer pick. You have him, you hold him, but be patient, because he will give you 6 to 8 points. He will give you a steady set of returns. And if he doesn't perform 1 week, don't take him out for a different option. I think if you get one of these players, it's better to hold them for the next 3-4 weeks. See out the slightly trickier games for Maddison as well. I think Arsenal, Liverpool are going to be tricky, but I still think they're going to be okay from a Tottenham attacking point of view. And I think Maddison is still going to do well in those games. Is it better to take a hit to bring in a decent goalkeeper? I personally don't like taking hits for goalkeepers. I understand that you probably want to rectify the situation that you're probably in, because you have Turner and Onana. Nobody's going to get a clean sheet. Let's assume that nobody is going to get a clean sheet. I don't expect United Arsenal to be a clean sheet game for any side. So you're probably absolutely right there. But taking a hit, you're already kind of negating the fact that, even if your goalkeeper is going to get a clean sheet, it's probably going to be a net 2 points, considering the fact that, they maybe make a save or two, maybe get a save point or 2 save points. Then they are in that 7 to 8 point category. You take a -4, they're about 4 points. Somebody like an Onana, somebody like a Turner might still end up giving you 2-3 points, considering the fact that they also make a few saves, may be actually equal to the new goalkeeper that you get in. So personally, don't like the idea of taking hits. If you still want to make a goalkeeper transfer, probably wait till next week and try to use a free transfer in that, and see a goalkeeper that you can hold on for a decent amount of time. And again, this is of course outside the scope of the wildcard discussion. Depending on your wildcard, let's say if you're wildcard in Game Week 5, don't make the move, change your goalkeeper on the wildcard directly. But whatever the case may be, I still won't recommend to take a hit for a goalkeeper, because the upside is generally very less. You don't get keepers who are scoring 7, 8, 9, 10 points on a weekly basis. So the average points are always a lot lesser. And the hit kind of just, negates any advantage that you can get from that particular week. Mitoma to Maddison was a good choice, right, for me. It is. I think Mitoma to Maddison is also what I'm doing. I think it's a good option. It's probably going to be a very popular transfer this week. Don't see anything wrong with it. Spurs have Arsenal, Liverpool. That's the only concern in Game Week 6, 7. But I think the next two are really, really good. You can easily, I easily see Maddison outscoring Mitoma in the next 3 or 4 game weeks. And I think the transfer is absolutely worth it. Please share my league code. The league code is on the screen. I think it's an L7BFZ2. I think that's the code. Just see if it works. If it doesn't, just let me know and I'll kind of check it again. Thoughts on Amrabat? Kind of happy that something happened. Kind of happy that the transfer did happen. Hats off to him for waiting for United, etc., etc. And it was probably one of the most stretched out transfers in general in the transfer window. What will happen with him coming into the United team? There's still a lot of missing kegs in terms of, Mason Mount coming in, and I'm still not very sure about how and where Mason Mount's best position is. I think Amrabat is, again, he's probably not somebody who can, who can probably play as a number or as a sole number six like a Rice or a Caicedo, for example. I think he needs that support, and I think that support can probably be given by a Casemiro. Having said that, both Casemiro and Amrabat probably don't have the legs, and we may suffer as a result of that as well. But I think it's going to be interesting because if Amrabat he's generally a defensive minded player. I mean, not a defense first. I mean, probably that's not his natural attribute, but I think he is probably going to be, slightly more defensive mind or playing with the defensive mindset. So that really helps Bruno's position, because then in that case, Bruno can actually play a lot further forward, a lot more advanced. And I think from an FPL perspective, I think Amrabat is not really going to trouble us or bother us. But the effect that he has is, that Bruno is probably going to become a better FPL option, because of the fact that he's now playing in more advanced positions. He's going to go for those killer balls. He's going to provide assists. He's going to shoot a lot more. He's going to get goals. He's also on penalties, also on set pieces. Especially with Shaw injured, I think that's going to continue for a decent amount of time. So I think overall a decent signing. Still too early to kind of say what happens, because a lot of people are also very excited about Mount. I see a lot of pessimism now with Mount. Of course, it's not fair to judge Mount with whatever we've seen so far. There's probably a lot more that's going to come. I think it's going to take some time to settle in the squad as well. But I think overall a positive signing. Let's see how it affects from a footballing perspective. I think from an FPL perspective, it's probably going to make Bruno Fernandes in particular a much better FPL option. You have the same team as me, and for Roberts, except for Robertson, Diaz, and Jackson instead of Estupinian and Martin Watkins. I mean, Robertson, I don't like Robertson. Diaz is a good pick. I think Diaz is another midfielder that nobody's talking about. Not a lot of people are going there, considering the fact that there's Foden, there's Madison, and there's Sterling as well. But I think Diaz in isolation is a hold. Jackson also looked okay, and I think has decent numbers, has had a lot of big chances, has not really taken them. But I think that will probably come with time where he becomes a better finisher, becomes a lot more polished. But he looks like a player who's going to be involved a lot. And I think Chelsea's attack definitely looks a lot better than what it looked last season. Still early days, still see what let's see what happens there. But I think both these players are absolutely fine. Robertson is somebody, I think Robertson is also probably costing us a decent amount of money. Maybe 6.5. I'm not sure. Let's just quickly check Robertson's price. But I think it's going to be slightly expensive. 6.5, yeah. I don't think so. He's worth 6.5. First of all, don't think so. Liverpool are going to keep a lot of clean sheets anyways. This week they're not even playing with their two main centre backs. Watkins, I think, can have a great game. But in general, I think Robertson, again, not really in the same bracket as he was maybe a couple of seasons back. And I don't think so it's going to happen this season as well. A lot of people are talking about Trent, but then Trent was at a very different price point. So I'll probably sell Robertson. And depending on which player you do not have, let's say you do not have a Chilwell, I think go with Chilwell. I think he's still the must-have sort of a defender right now, because of the fact that Chelsea has decent games. He's playing in a very advanced position. There's assist potential. He's taking shots, and he's also playing as almost as an inverted forward in a lot of the times in these games, and in at least the 3 games that we've seen in the league. So I think Chilwell is great. Man City defense is also worth considering. You have the likes of Udogie as well. Yes, Tottenham might not give you the same amount of clean sheets as let's say as a Man City defender, but I think the attacking threat that Udogie could give could be a lot higher than any Man City defender, right? So you have to kind of make and choose your bet whether you are trusting the Man City defense to keep clean sheets. And surprisingly, they haven't really kept a lot of clean sheets, over the last season. Well, they were struggling in defense. That might still happen again. They did concede against Sheffield as well. So still not completely sold there. And that's why I like the idea of having an Udogie, because Tottenham actually look like a lot better team overall. Yes, they're still looking like a team who are probably not going to, keep a lot of clean sheets. But Udogie does have attacking threat. And I think that could really benefit. So I think those are some moves that you can probably do by replacing a Robertson, but I think other than that, looks okay. Estupinian Saliba to Udogie, I like it. Or should I keep them both? I mean, I probably would make a move. It doesn't feel like a very good move on paper, considering the fact that Estupinian, yes, tricky fixtures, may not keep clean sheets. Brighton are conceding a lot of XGC. which isn't great for their clean sheet potential. Estupinian does give you that attacking threat and that additional, route to points. Saliba is not going to give you that. Doesn't even have a lot of aerial threat or goal threat. I think it was Gabriel who was that sort of a player, and Gabriel is not even starting anymore. Arsenal, can they keep clean sheets? Yes, they can. Do they look odd defensively or weak defensively right now? Absolutely, they don't look very, very comfortable. So I think you are kind of taking an average sort of defender for a decent, or at least he looks like Udogie looks like a high upside pick. Could be that. But yeah, I mean, don't be surprised if the Udogie move doesn't work out and he doesn't get you those clean sheets. Because clean sheets, I'm still a bit confused in terms of whether Spurs can actually keep clean sheets there. So I think you can keep him. You can get him. Sorry, Stupinian, Saliba, Botman, Chilwell. Botman also has a flag. I don't think so. Botman's probably going to start this week, and it's Brighton anyway, so it's not the easiest set of fixture anyways. But I'll probably sell Estupinian and I'll get Udogie. It's not ideal considering the fact that Estupinian has looked good attacking wise, but I think again that's the way I play. I try to go a bit aggressive with my moves, try to chase the upside, and I think selling Estupinian and having Udogie, I think, is that high upside move. Bruno, Maddison, it's a tricky one. I think Bruno, considering the numbers that he's posted, I think he's probably going to be slightly better than Maddison. This week, maybe Maddison has a better fixture. It's an away game, but it's still probably a better fixture. But I think, and again, contrary to a lot of popular opinion, I think Bruno's probably going to be the better option out of the two. I think Saka and Bruno are season keepers. No, you don't have Bruno. I know I don't have Bruno, and I didn't go for him because I was actually quite skeptical about how he's gonna, start the season, considering what we saw last season. He looks like a very different player right now, as I mentioned earlier as well, with the presence of Amrabat and maybe Casemiro starting more games, because I don't see Mount as that option. Or then that's why kind of Mount is struggling, and he's all over the place because Mount doesn't fit into that system at all. So Bruno could be a keeper. Saka could be a keeper. Saka has taken penalties. Odegaard has taken a penalty. We still don't know who's probably going to be the number one penalty taker for the Arsenal team. I mean, who the hell knows? Gabriel Jesus might just come in and start taking penalties left, right, and center. So we don't know that. But I think your assumption is probably not wrong, or your statement is not wrong here, meaning that, Saka and Bruno are probably season keepers. I think they're good options. They're going to be popular options, and I think they could do really, really well. Who to sell for Maddison? Saka, Bruno, Diaby, Rashford, Buemo, or Roll? I mean, if you want to lighten your load on the United options, on the United players, I'll probably sell Rashford, but I won't be comfortable selling Rashford for sure. I think Rashford against Arsenal, especially if Haaland starts, I still have my doubts there, but if Haaland starts, I think, and if Rashford anyways plays on the left side, if Martial's playing, or whosoever's playing as the number 9 and not Rashford, I think Rashford could also have some decent potential. Both United and Arsenal, they haven't really looked that great defensively. So that's the reason I say that I'm not expecting a clean sheet in that game. And we know that, if United are going to score, it's going to be Bruno, it's going to be Rashford. I mean, they will be involved. So I think it's not a must to do transfer, if you know what I mean. So you can roll. But if you want to take a chance, maybe just lighten that load of Rashford and, get in Maddison. I mean, the top 10K overall, that's absolutely a great start. Top 10K right now does mean that you've started the season very, very strongly. And I think it's only upwards and upwards from here, right? Though having said that, rank at this stage is also kind of meaningless because a couple of bad game weeks and you suddenly are, out of 100K, you're probably around 500K, 1 million. Who knows where you can end up actually, plummeting. But I think, 10K right now is a great rank. Areola versus Onana to start. I think if I'll take my chances with Areola, again, not expecting Onana to keep a clean sheet anyway. So why not take a chance with a budget keeper and try to get lucky there. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. So I think Areola might not be a bad option now that I'm thinking about it. If I compare him with an Onana, I think Areola is absolutely fine. You recommend a -4 for Rashford to Maddison, Martin to Sterling, and Watkins to Jackson. I think these are all good moves, but don't be surprised or don't get shocked if that hit kind of doesn't work out and you're actually in the negative when you compare all these scores along with that -4. Considering the fact that Rashford, uh, Martinelli, and Watkins all have good fixtures this week, all have attacking fixtures this week. I mean, of course, Rashford is playing Martinelli. So let's say if there's a clean sheet for one team, one of the attackers is probably going to lose out, and all that stuff is going to happen. But I think there is potential to mess it up, but there's also potential to get in lucky or get lucky. You will be playing your cards if you're taking one of Rashford or Martinelli out. But if these are long-term moves that you anyways want to do, I don't think so. The -4 should really affect you that much. FPL is also a game of patience, and I think we kind of forget that a lot of times because of the fact that we see all these different players scoring points all of a sudden, and we want to jump on them. That's absolutely fine. That's okay in terms of how you play. But do be alarmed that there is a possibility that these moves might not work out. And the way FPL functions most of the times, Rashford, Martinelli, Watkins are all going to smash it this week, and the players that you get in might not do much. So just be prepared for that. And if you are, I think you will be more comfortable making these moves probably. 2 free transfers, got Madison for Mitoma already. That's probably 1 free transfer then. Martino, Sterling, Mbuemo, or Bomber for Foden. I think if I'm taking out Martinelli, I personally like Foden. I know a lot of people are a little bit skeptical with going with Foden because of the fact that Champions League is going to come, because of the fact that there's Doku now in the team. There could be rotation. I still feel Foden is going to be one of the most important players for Man City, considering the fact that he's playing in that very creative sort of a role somewhere between the likes of Alvarez, Foden, getting the ball in midfield, driving forward, taking shots, also creating chances. So I think overall Foden looks like a great option. Fulham, he's facing Fulham this week. Fulham don't have Palhinha. He's gone to Bayern, or at least it's confirmed that he's gone to Bayern. I think the transfer should have gone through. And Fulham anyways look like a very average side. Again, no disrespect to any Fulham fans out there or Fulham team in general, but they look like a very leaky side. They look like a team who are going to concede a lot of chances, and those chances will translate into conceding goals. So I think overall, Foden could have a field day this week, could be a massive, massive score. And I think me, again, as an FPL manager, I would always want to take a little bit of a risk, go for the higher upside option. I think Foden is definitely that one. Hey Shine, hello to you. Welcome to the stream. It's so good to see you and have you back. I think you have kind of joined after a very, very long time. But yeah, welcome to the stream. I hope your season or your FPL season has started well. College is definitely keeping you busy, and it's great, right? Like college is of course very, very exciting, and I hope you're having a good time and all the best again for your future college time as well. Would you do Steel to Flecken for a -4? There could be some rotation, and I'm expecting rotation between the Brighton keeper. So kind of take away that, and don't have that risk. -4 doesn't look ideal, but Flecken is probably going to be a long-term move. So I think it's fine. Only for this particular option, -4 is okay because the fact that I'm not. I mean, Steel might just end up playing most of the games anyways, and you might feel that probably that's the wrong call, but again, that's a risk for sure. Like a Gabriel, right? A lot of people, including me, a lot of managers had that trust in Gabriel that yes, he didn't start this week, he's probably going to start next week. He didn't start in Game Week 2, he's probably going to start in Game Week 3. That didn't happen or hasn't happened. And I think it's fine. I mean, you take a chance with it. You go for a player that you're probably going to keep anyways for a slightly longer term. -4 sounds a bit iffy, especially for a goalkeeper. I know, not ideal, but because of the fact that you are in this tricky situation, I think Steel to Flecken is absolutely fine. Shine, your team is Onana, Diaz, Chilwell, Estupinian, Madison, Foden, Boemo, Saka, Martin, Jackson, Haaland. Looks like a solid team. You have Chilwell covered. Diaz also is there. Estupinian again is okay this week, and a lot of us might anyways shift him next week. The rest of the team looks pretty solid. I think it's a good team. Would you go -4 to get in Sterling for a 4.5 mid and bench Eze? Again, if you are looking at this move for the longer term, -4 is okay. So this week, I mean, Sterling could absolutely smash it, and the -4 might just take care of itself. But yeah, I mean, if you are upgrading, I'm assuming you are upgrading a 4.5 million mid, and then you're getting in Sterling, and then you'll be benching in Eze. Benching in Eze is okay. I mean, it's not. He could absolutely smash it again, but or have a good game against Wolves. But I think it's okay. I'll probably do the move. Yeah, I won't probably hitch a lot here. Which to start out of Estepinian, Martini, Baldock? I want to start Baldock, but again, with Estepinian, you have that chance that you can absolutely get something, especially from an attacking sense. And I think that's where I am not able to convince myself that I want to play Baldock. The logical move looks like Baldock, but I think my heart is still staying Estepinian. But if I had to start logically, two options, I think it'll be Martini, Baldock. But I think overall, when I'm finalizing my team, if I'm locking my transfer, my 11, I think it's going to be Estepinian and Martinelli. Thoughts on Kulusevski, 1.6% owned. Still feel, somebody like a Madison is the better option right now, considering that they're midfielder. I think Kulusevski is also a midfielder only, if I'm not wrong. Let me just quickly check that. You have also the likes of Richarlison now that, I think Tottenham have signed Johnson, who's going to be their number 9, who's going to be their forward. So maybe Richarlison gets benched. Maybe he, shares some minutes with Son. Who knows what's going to happen there? But I think I still feel there's going to be Madison, who's probably the better option. Kulusevski, still not completely sold on him. I think considering the fact that Madison's going to be at the heart of whatever Tottenham are creating, I think he's still going to be the better option. Yeah, Kulusevski midfielder, 7 million. Madison's 0.7 higher, but I think over the next few games, you'll actually see the difference, and I think Madison will outscore Kulusevski by a lot. Bench one of Eze, Watkins, or Rashford. If I'm benching one, I'll probably play Rashford and Watkins, and I'll bench Eze. That's what I'll do. Richarlison, keeper sell. I'll sell Richarlison. Much better options out there. You have Mboemo or Pomo. So either Eze or Diaby for Richarlison, or should I do Richarlison and Rashford for Sterling and Madison? I think Richarlison, Rashford. So you have Mboemo. Diaby, Eze, both aren't that great right now. I think Diaby could be good. He's done well, absolutely well. But I think Diaby for me is another couple of weeks down the line. And if I'm taking a chance, I'll probably just take a chance with Richarlison plus Rashford out for Sterling and Madison. I know it's a mine. If you don't want to take a hit, then you do basically take out Richarlison and get in Diaby. Prepare yourself, for the upcoming games. In case if you don't want to do that, in case if you feel that he's probably having tougher fixtures, I don't want to go with him. Eze is also okay buy. Yes, I know a lot of people might not go for Eze because of the fact that he's not done much yet, but I still feel he's probably going to be okay. But I'll still take my chance with the Richarlison plus Rashford and then Sterling and Madison for a -4. I think with this combination, a -4, I know it can go horribly wrong, and it may well, end up going wrong. But I think I'll take my chances here. Please rate this midfield: Madison, Saka, Sterling, Luis Diaz, Rashford. It's a good midfield. I mean, there's a lot of good money invested. Consider the fact that you have Saka, Rashford, Luis Diaz, Sterling, Madison also decently priced. I think a lot of your money is invested in midfield. I'm assuming you might be going with the cheaper defense, or maybe Haaland plus a cheaper striker option as well. But I think the midfield in isolation looks pretty solid. Martinelli to Madison and Pedro Jackson looks pretty solid. Even if it's for a hit, I think I'll do it. Thoughts on having Bayern in your group? I mean, I was so scared. I was so scared in terms of us, getting a group of death. But when I actually saw Newcastle's fate, I mean, I felt bad for them, but I felt happy that yes, it's Bayern, but it's still a lot better than what could have happened, or what we could have got. Harry Kane coming back to Old Trafford and haunting us may well be on the cards, and I still expect Bayern to finish first. But I think overall, still happy that it was just Bayern, and the rest of the group it's going to be still tricky. The away fixtures, and you can always say that you never know what's going to happen in those away games, especially with all the travel involved and United being United. You just don't know what's going to happen. But happy that it's just Bayern and no other team. Yes, I'm still expecting Bayern to finish, first and us probably second, but still okay. Still not as bad as Newcastle and that whole mess of a group. I mean, as I mentioned earlier in the stream as well, probably haven't seen a much more difficult or a high difficulty group in the Champions League before. What to do with Salah? Keep or sell? In case if you are kind of getting blocked in terms of getting a Foden, getting a Madison, getting a Sterling, I think then is when you think of selling Salah. I mean, you sell Salah, you get these options, maybe two of them, have some money, maybe upgrade a Joao Pedro, make some upgrades in your defense. If you can do all of this, and if it allows you to do all of this, and your squad is lacking this, I think you sell Salah. If not, keep him for a week, see him out this week, and if he doesn't perform well over the international break, you may sell him, you may go for some different options out there. You'll also have one more week of information in terms of whether to go for a Foden, what's going to happen with Foden, whether to go for a Sterling, whether that form can continue, the game week 3 form against Luton that he showed, I think whether that can continue. I think you'll have some idea at least. So I think it's not an immediate sell, but in case if your team is actually lacking balance, then absolutely sell him and try to get a more balanced squad. Hey Ansh, hello to you. Tell me finally, along with matters, what should I do with my defense? City defense, Diaz, someone else, or Udogi? See, if you're gonna go very, very safe, Udogi is a risky pick. There's no doubt about it. He's a high upside pick, and if he can, if Tottenham can keep even half the clean sheets as Man City, I think Udogi can help us get some attacking returns, and I think he could do really well. He's the high risk pick, unless you go with a slightly risky defender option. But I think Diaz is safer. If you don't want to take any chances, just go Diaz. I think he's going to be nailed. City have some decent fixtures and they can keep clean sheets, but my heart is definitely saying Udogi. Logical move again. It's that battle between your heart and your brain, right? Your heart is my heart is probably saying it's Udogi, but the brain says Diaz as the more logical option to go for. I think don't overthink it. If you think they're gonna go safe, don't want to take any chances, just go Diaz. I'm expecting some rotation in the Man City defense, but it's probably not gonna happen with Diaz. Also, are you making the Matters move? I will probably in about 5-10 minutes. I'll just quickly see if we have anything on Twitter. I don't think so. There any leaks, etc. that probably we are expecting anyways, but we'll just quickly see if there's something on Twitter. I will be making my Matters move for sure. It's Mitoma out and Matters or Madison in. Do you think that non-Haaland captain this week is going to be worth it? I don't think so, because it's Fulham. Haaland has recently won the award as well. He's in good nick. I mean, he's still posting some decent numbers. It's Man City, it's Fulham. It's probably going to be without Palhinha. Fulham are really, really bad defensively. They concede a lot of chances. They do concede a lot of XGC as well, a lot of goals as well. I don't see this game probably, being a 2-0 or a 3-0. I really, really think there's going to be 4, 5, 6. I mean, you can put any number and we'll bet on it. And I don't think so. It's probably the week to go non-Haaland in terms of captaincy. I mean, Mbomo, Chilwell, whosoever you're captaining, they're all still risky options. And I probably won't take the risk this week. I have Gabriel. Who do you suggest I bring in instead of him? If you have Gabriel, see if you have Chilwell or not. If you already have Chilwell, then you look at options. From the Man City defense, you have Diaz and Guardiola as your most nailed picks, or supposedly most nailed picks. Then you also have somebody like an Udogi, for example. You can even go Henry. I think there are some decent options to go for. If you want a completely safe option, probably going to start most games, you go Udogi or Henry. If you're okay taking a bit of a risk, but are looking for slightly, a slightly more premium defender who can give you stability in terms of your clean sheet points. Again, we can't really say that the City is going to absolutely smash it in terms of keeping clean sheets, because they also have that odd mistake in them and they do end up conceding goals because of that. But yeah, I mean, depending on the risk factor, etc., depending on how much do you believe in the Man City defense, I mean, you can take your call. Eze to Madison or roll. I'll do the Eze to Madison move. Is Bowen worth a punt? I'm assuming. West Ham played probably the worst defense in the league. Yeah, Luton is probably the worst defense in the league along with Fulham. West Ham fixtures after that aren't that great. So in case if you're looking at this move as a slightly long-term move, don't do it. If it's 1 week, maybe you're wildcarding in game week 5, then absolutely do it. I think he could do really, really well this week. Also in leaks on the City team, haven't really seen anything at all. Yeah. Feels weird not to have a leak for a change because of the fact that we've been getting so many leaks every week. And people are saying that Danny Welbeck, because of the fact that he's definitely gonna miss the home game against Newcastle. So Joe Pedro, and I think Andy also tweeted something similar. I mean, his chances of starting in game week 4 goes high, but I mean, yeah. Two free transfers, doing Estupinian to Udogi with the first one. Should I move Odegaard to Mado, Raz? Slightly afraid to go into the international break with only one free transfer, especially since I have it booked for Trippier in game week 5. I agree with the fact that, going with one free transfer looks a bit dodgy, considering the fact that there might be so much that kind of comes up. But then again, you have the wild card as well. In a scenario, if you have 2 or 3 or 4 players who have a flag, who don't work out, who get injured, or anything can happen with them, right? So if that's the case, use the wild card if you've not used it so far. I mean, it depends, right? If you want to play a little bit more attacking, Odegaard is some player or one player that I'm okay selling. Much more comfortable selling him over a Martinelli or a Saka or a Rashford or a Bruno. I was kind of hoping that he becomes Arsenal's main penalty takers. Now we still do not know who the hell is going to take penalties for Arsenal in the longer run, but I think still comfortable selling Odegaard and going for Madison or Sterling. I've kind of presented my reasons. Madison safer long-term option, Sterling more explosive, aggressive, slightly short-term pick. You may jump onto a different option as well, but I think I'll personally make the move. I understand the logic behind having 2 free transfers, but again, you may end up making more than 2 transfers anyways and might end up taking a hit, right? So I think you go with what you have in front of you right now, and Trippier might get injured. Who knows what's going to happen with Trippier also, right? So you might not actually go there. Considering the fact that Newcastle also have they do have Champions League coming up. They do have that tough EFL game also coming up. Let's assume if they beat Man City, which is probably going to be tricky, but if they do beat Man City, they're still going to progress in the EFL Cup game, and Trippier might end up getting those games as well. So he may not be as nailed. Also, the fact that Livramento has signed for Newcastle, we might see him getting more minutes. And Trippier, considering his age, considering the level of competitions or the amount of competitions that Newcastle is participating or competing in this season, Trippier may not even be the best asset out there. So I think I'll make the move personally, and I'll switch Odegaard. Whom do you suggest to bench among Estupinian, Udogi, and Cher? I'll bench Cher. I think Estupinian and Udogi still have the attacking threat, which Cher doesn't give us. And clean sheet perspective, maybe Udogi is the best option out there for a clean sheet. Surprising, I'm actually betting on a Spurs defender getting a clean sheet, but that's where it is. I transferred Botman out for Guardiola, Rashford for Madison. Do you think it's smart? That's okay. You may think that Botman might be needed for your team, especially with Newcastle's fixtures turning in, them doing well defensively. They're still a good defensive side, but I think Guardiola and Rashford in isolation or as a combination as well, I think it's Guardiola Madison. Sorry, I think that combination is pretty good. No problem with that. Start Estupinian, Pedro, or Guardiola. I know it's a bad team. Not really. Pedro may end up starting. He may end up scoring. Who knows what's gonna happen, right? FPL in football throws a curve or throws these different propositions every week. So you just never know. Estupinian may end up having a 10-pointer or a double-digit haul. Who knows? So I don't think so it's a bad team or a bad combination. But if I'm starting one, I'll probably take my chances with Guardiola. I think there is a clean sheet in there for sure. Hey, who would you bench Estupinian, Udogi, or Martinelli? If I'm benching one, I will probably bench Estupinian, play Udogi and Martinelli both. I want free transfer current mid. Mbomo, Fernandes, Rashford, Saka, Mitoma. Would you sell Mitoma for Diaz or Madison? Richarlison, Diaby, Kulusevski, 2.8 in the bank. If I'm selling Mitoma, I'll probably go Madison if money is okay. I think, yeah, I think that's a good player to go for. Long-term good option. Diaby is probably not right now. He's maybe a few weeks down the line. And again, I think we've already seen enough from Diaby. It's just that we're waiting for the fixtures to turn, fixtures to get better. I think that is when we can actually target him. But I think Mitoma to Madison's fine. And thank you so much for joining the stream from South Africa. Thank you so much again. What to do with Watkins? Should I swap him to Jackson? This would mean triple Chelsea or Alvarez. I mean, triple Chelsea is fine considering the fact that they have decent fixtures and they can be good or a good short-term solution considering the fact that they have some decent fixtures coming up. Or Alvarez, will keep him and do Turner to Areola. I think Watkins to Jackson is not a must move. I mean, again, Liverpool without their two main centre backs, I think Watkins could have a good day or a good score. So I don't think so. Watkins to Jackson is a must to do this week. I mean, I'm not even considering the fact that it's triple Chelsea, but I think Watkins in isolation is absolutely fine. You can do Turner to Areola, just keep your bases covered, make it safer. If Turner to Areola is an option where if Turner's starting, let's say if he's your starting goalkeeper, then only do the move. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. I mean, on your bench, not starting, I think it's absolutely fine. Then in that scenario, I mean, you can go for the slightly higher upside move, which is Watkins to Alvarez. But I think I'll not do the move. I think Watkins is in isolation against Liverpool, considering the fact that none of their main centre backs are going to play. I think it's a good fixture for Aston Villa. Do you prefer Sterling or Madison? Madison's safer, Sterling the more explosive. I like Sterling slightly more, but having said that, it's not that it's a huge difference. I mean, it depends on how you look at the game, how you read the game, and how you are reading both assets. I think both are great. Very, very difficult to choose, that one is better than the other right now, especially. Would you buy Mbomo or Bomo? I keep mispronouncing his name. Madison or Sterling this week. Already have Jackson from Chelsea, none from Tottenham and Brentford. Depending on who you're taking out as well, right? If you're taking out an option, let's say a Mitoma, I think Madison or Sterling, if you have the money, I think it's great. I think Mbomo also with the fixtures that he has, he's on penalties, one of the main options in the Brentford attack. I think Brentford attack would do decently well. So I think, if I have to choose one right now, if it's a short-term move, I'll probably go Sterling. If it's a slightly long-term move, I think Madison, Bomo, it's pretty close between the two. Matters of travel to Burnley and he's starting. FPL has tweeted. I mean, I never really thought that he won't start. I mean, he should be fine. He didn't start the midweek AFL Cup game as well, so I think he should be okay. Estupinian, Kabore, Baldock. If you're asking about starting one, I'll start Estupinian. Rashford, Sterling, Saka, Guemo in mid plus Visa and Haaland, sorry. Should I add a midfielder, Madison, or remove Pedro for Jackson, Alvarez? I mean, Pedro to Jackson, if you have money, I think it's absolutely fine. You have Rashford, Sterling, Saka, Guemo. So you'll basically be having Visa, Haaland, and Jackson, and then Rashford, Sterling, Saka, and Mbomo. I think that's fine. Madison can be, I mean, you can wait on Madison. Rashford could become Madison next week. I'll still probably keep Saka in. So yeah, I think it's basically Jackson versus Matters, right? So if you're not going to take a hit for Madison, which I don't think so you will, I think you can just do the Madison move and don't have to do the Pedro move, because Pedro can also start, or maybe you can just bench him. Also for a -8 for defense, I don't think so. I'll take a -8 for defense for sure. And if you can make the move to just Madison and then play a midfield 5 with a front 2 of Visa and Haaland, I think you do that. So it's basically going to be Rashford, Sterling, Saka, Buemo, and Madison. I think that's fine. You don't have to take a hit for Jackson. I mean, you can keep Pedro on the bench. That's what I mean. To start, Estepinian versus Saliba versus Colwell. The other defenders are Odogi and Chilwell. I don't expect Saliba to keep a clean sheet. And I'm at least I'm assuming that, or the assumption here is that it's going to be a good attacking fixture, open game. I think both teams are going to score. Saliba doesn't really have a lot of attacking threat anyway. So I'll probably take my chances and I'll double up on the Chelsea. I think I did kind of answer that. I mean, if you have a double up on the Chelsea defense, I think this is probably one of the weeks to take advantage of that. There is a clean sheet in there, and I think Colwell plus Chilwell could be decent. Yeah. Start 3: Cash, Gusto, Colwell, Saliba, Estepinian. I'll start. I mean, benching Cash after that big haul sounds odd, but I think I'll still start Cash. I'll start Gusto, and I'll probably start Colwell. I think those will be the three options. I'll start Saliba and Estepinian. I know they're good options in isolation, but I think with trickier matchups this week, I think I'm okay, comfortable benching them. Alvarez in for a -4. I just start Estepinian. Alvarez is risky because of the fact that there could be some rotation. He may not. I mean, he's played 270 minutes so far, all the minutes available to him so far. So it looks like that could continue. Of course, with the introduction of Doku, things could change. Foden's positioning could change. Alvarez's positioning could also change because of the fact that Foden's changing his position probably, or who the hell knows what Pep is thinking in his wily brain. But it's a risky move for a -4. Maybe not. If you're a high upside player, if you are a risky, aggressive player, I think it's a good move. Yeah, and I think Estepinian, I'm actually okay benching Estepinian, not starting him, not playing him if the option is there. And Alvarez for a -4, risky, but I think it's fine. Someone tweeted Guardiola will be benched. He has a source from City Insider, so let's see. I haven't seen anything though. If you have a source, I mean, if you've read the source, if you remember the source, please do mention it here as well. We'll also quick check it. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the most nailed defender in the Man City team, I think it's still going to be Ruben Dias. You are paying more money for not a lot more attacking threat, but you're probably paying a little bit more money for the safety or security of start. So I think it's fine. There's about 20 minutes to go. Please feel free to add more questions. Anything that you want to add, anything that you want to get checked. If you have some information that you would like to share, please, you're welcome to do that as well. Please hit the like button if you're enjoying the stream so far. If you found this helpful, please feel free to subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and if you've not done that, it really helps us grow bit by bit, and I think any help there would be really appreciated. So we'll also quickly do our transfers. So we'll take out Mitoma. I think taking out Mitoma and getting in Madison is absolutely fine. Hopefully Mitoma doesn't do much this week, and I think Madison could do well, and he can give us the right points. So we'll make that move at least first, and that's done. So that's one free transfer used. I have a midfield of Foden, Mbomo, Martinez, Saka, Madison. Playing a 3-5-2 with Chilwell, Estepinian, Henry, Watkins, Haaland as captain, vice captain Saka. We'll probably put the vice captaincy on Foden, or maybe Madison. I mean, we can put it on Madison. We can share that, no problem. Martinelli to the other option, which is Sterling, is what we have to think. I think I'm pretty set taking a hit. I think it's fine. Think that hit can recover itself, maybe this week as well, maybe over the next few weeks. I think Arsenal could also see some rotation with Trossard, with the likes of Gabriel Jesus. I mean, there are multiple schools of thoughts and multiple theories that now Gabriel Jesus is probably starting or going to start games, so Martinelli might become a better option. Now that could absolutely happen, but I think we'll take the chance. I think Sterling in isolation is looking good. I think he is gonna get more game time, and I think we'll take the chance. It's a -4. Yeah, so we have done the move. Got rid of Martinelli, got rid of Mitoma for Sterling and Madison, and yeah, for -4. So we'll just quickly save our team as well. Captain is Haaland, vice captain is Madison. We'll shift the vice captaincy to Sterling. I mean, not that it really makes any or much sense, but we'll just quickly do that. Start Joao Pedro or -4 for Chilwell, in for Gabriel, and start Chilwell. I think I'll take a hit for Chilwell, no problem taking a hit. I think there's potential for clean sheets in the upcoming games this week as well, and then there's potential for attacking returns for Chilwell, and I think I'll take my chances there. Sterling captain, not a week to maybe go against Haaland, considering it's Fulham. They are quite leaky. The defense is not that great. They do concede a lot of chances and goals. Sterling at captain could do really well, but if Haaland goes absolutely crazy, right, I think it could be a tough week. I have Luis Diaz, Liverpool. Do you think he's going to start? I mean, he looks like one of the best players in the Liverpool lineup, and I think he will be getting minutes. So yes, I'm a bit more confident about him starting over the likes of a Jota or a Gakpo, or of course Salah is Salah, and he's probably going to start most games or all the games. But I think Luis Diaz, I think that he's going to start. Yes. Foden or Madison or Alvarez Jackson, pick one, please. I think if I'm picking one, I'll pick Foden because of the fact that he's the most explosive out of the lot. He's also a good differential. There is good points to be gained there. I think he's gonna get minutes. There's risk involved, but I think he's a high risk, high upside pick. So I'll go there for sure. Yeah. Start Cash or Baldock. I think I'll take my chances with Cash. Liverpool's defense hasn't looked that great, and I know Cash is not gonna give you the same returns because of the positioning that he had in that game, and it's probably not gonna continue in every game. But I think I'll take my chances with Cash over a Baldock. I mean, there is a high upside potential for attacking returns there at least. Surya, your team is Pedro, Chilwell, Henry, Saka, Mbomo, Mitoma, Rashford, Enzo, Haaland, Watkins. Your bench is Gabriel, Bayer, Mubama, whom to transfer out. 2 free transfers. I mean, Pedro Porro to Udoge is one move that you can do probably. Udoge is definitely the better option to go for. Chilwell, Henry is absolutely fine. Saka, Mbomo, Mitoma. I think I'll probably take out Mitoma. I mean, Enzo is also... if this is Enzo Fernandez, then I'll probably take him out and upgrade him to a Sterling. That's probably going to be my one move. And the other move can be Mitoma to Madison. I think that's probably the better move out there. I think I can stick with Pedro Porro, and if he becomes a problem later on, I can change him to a different player. Maybe the Matters move from now. Now just the defenders move left. Mostly going for Diaz. I mean, Diaz is good. I think there's nothing wrong with Diaz. Man City can keep clean sheets. Whether they will keep clean sheets or not, I don't know. But I think if we are really putting our eggs in one basket and betting ourselves or all our money for one player, I think it's going to be Diaz, and I think he's okay. Other best options for captaincy other than Haaland, if you really have to go for other captaincy options, I think there's Mbomo against Bournemouth. I think he has a great fixture. There's Foden if you have Foden against Fulham. I think Sterling against Nottingham Forest is also a good pick. Madison is okay, but I think likes of Sterling and Mbomo are better options. If you're really feeling very spicy, I think you can definitely go for a Watkins against Liverpool. I mean, what's to say that Watkins is not going to get a massive haul this week, right? So I think, yeah, I think he could be good. I'm going to bench boost, but I have Mo Salah and £200 million bid incoming. I mean, I think the transfer window is shut, right? I'm not sure. Is it shut? No, it's not shut yet. I mean, yeah, I still don't think... Oh, Palinia deal is off, by the way. Yeah, so, I mean, it still kind of does keep the Fulham defense weaker, so I think it's still fine. But yeah, 200 million bid incoming. I don't see a scenario where Salah is sold because the fact that Liverpool will be in a very tough spot if Salah leaves, right? Because they probably do not have enough time to find a replacement. They don't have that much strength in their attack if Salah's gone. And I will be worried if I'm Klopp. So I don't think so. He's definitely going to leave this window. I think he stays. Weiss, Chilwell, Mado, or Mbomo. I think Chilwell could be a very interesting pick. I'm assuming your captain is going to be Haaland, so not that really makes a difference. But I mean, yeah, Chilwell could be great. What are your transfer plans? I already made my transfers. Let me just quickly change my team if I can. Just give me a second. I'll just quickly change my team. Yeah, I think it should have changed by now. Or you just quickly see a quick upgrade. Yeah, so it's basically taking out Mitoma for Madison and then taking out Martinelli for Sterling. I still have 3.8 million in the bank. That's a good amount of money. Start 2 of Cash, Estopinian or Gusto. I'll start Gusto and Cash. I'll take my chances with Cash. Why not? I'm benching Saka. Sunday is going to be scary. I would not bench Saka. I mean, if I really have to, it's a different thing. But I'll be definitely worried if I'm benching Saka. I think Saka is probably one of the better options in the Arsenal attack. I'm assuming, and it's a big assumption, that he's probably still going to be on penalties. A dodgy penalty, 3 bonus points. You just never know. So I think unless there's no option in hell that I have to, I can go for, I think I'll try to make a situation or make a scenario where I'm playing Saka. Rate my team: Pickford, Udogi. Pickford, not very high on Pickford. I think I don't like him as an option. Udogi, Chilwell, Estopinian, Bruno, Rashford, Mbomo, Madison, Saka, Jackson, Haaland. Overall, pretty decent team. Pickford is somebody that I don't like personally. I've never liked him. Don't like him now as well. Start Gusto or start Mitoma. I generally start the attacker, but I think Gusto in an attacking role against Forest, clean sheet potential, attacking return potential. I think I'll start him over Mitoma. Hey Param, hello to you. Welcome to the stream. Your team is Onana, Estopinian, Chilwell, Akanji, Ward-Prowse. Really interesting option. Saka, Rashford, Buemo, Mbomo, Madison, Watkins, Haaland captain, Gabriel, if not Akanji. If there's a question, do let me know. Looks like a decent team. Ward-Prowse is interesting, especially if you're not wildcarding in game week 5. I think he'll be a tricky but an interesting hold. What do you think about my midfield? Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Mbomo, Saka, Luis Diaz. We have fun free transfer. Thinking about transferring Rashford for Sterling. I mean, you don't have to, but if you feel that Fernandes plus Rashford is probably going to be too much for the Arsenal game, and you don't want to look beyond that, because I still feel holding both is fine. But if you, let's say if you don't have a Chelsea attacker, and if you want to dip in to the Chelsea attacking pool, I think, Rashford to Sterling is okay. Start Mitoma, Watkins. I'll start Watkins. Any info on Guardiola being benched? Again, I still haven't seen it, so I'm not sure where that is coming from. Let me just refresh my page on Twitter again. Yeah, I don't see anything. I mean, if you have seen something, or if you have a source, or if you come across something that that was mentioned on Twitter, do let me know. A lot of streamers are saying that leaks are saying Guardiola's bench. I haven't seen anything posted on Twitter. Maybe on their streams they're saying if you, most of them generally aren't really wrong, but if you have a feeling about that, that information is probably going to be correct, maybe it's going to be correct, then don't consider him. There could be a chance where he's benched, and then in that case Diaz just becomes an outright better option for in case if you're going with a Man City defender. I'm starting Akanji. If he plays no minutes, will it automatically swap with Saliba? It will if you have Akanji in your 11, and if Saliba is first on your bench. I think Saliba, I'm sure Saliba is going to come in, but even if Akanji plays for a single minute, comes from the bench, this is going to be sad. Should I start him anyway, and if he doesn't play, Rashford auto subs? Rashford on the bench, I probably won't put him on the bench unless you really have to play with 3 defenders and you have to bench Rashford. But yeah, just play him anyway. And see, because if you're playing him and if you have Rashford who's auto subbing, then I don't think so you should probably play him anyway, because Rashford is an attacker against Arsenal. He can definitely score, and you never know. Guardiola, most often than not, his ceiling is going to be what, 6 to 8 points, 6 points. Rashford with 1 assist can absolutely smash that, right? So I think if the option is to, and that's what I understand from this comment, if you have the option to play Rashford ahead of Guardiola, and if you do, then definitely play him ahead of Guardiola. I don't think so. It's probably an argument there. Yeah. There's about 8 or 9 minutes to go. Please visit the team, visit your website or the FPL website. Check out your team. Don't keep it till very late. You just never know, the servers, etc., might just act funny. See, if you don't see, if you're very confident that Rashford is not going to get 6+ against Arsenal, take a chance with Guardiola. If he, most likely he's probably not going to come from the bench, because Pep's substitutions are like that generally. Yeah, if I was in your place, I would probably still play Rashford, but that's just me. That's just how I see it and how I play it. But if you feel that Rashford's probably gonna blank or not gonna have a great game, then play Guardiola. Should I take Sanchez out and Rashford for Sterling and take the -4? I mean, if you're taking Sanchez out, I'm assuming the goalkeeper Sanchez. I mean, which goalkeeper you're getting in, I'm not sure. I don't even think that will be for money, so I probably won't do the Sanchez move. I'll just do Rashford. I mean, Sanchez is. I don't see a problem with him in goal anyway. Edison. Okay, so Sanchez out to Edison, Rashford to Sterling for -4. I think it's fine. I mean, you can do it. I mean, do you really have to do the Sanchez to Edison move? I'm not sure, but if you want to do it and take the hit, I think it's fine. Madison for Rashford or Mitoma. Madison for Mitoma for sure. Have Odegaard, Saka, and Foden. I think I'll take out Mitoma. I'll give a chance to Rashford. There could be some change in fortune there, and I think I'm okay to wait there. I think I'll take my chances with the Mitoma. Yeah. Who do you think will get a clean sheet, Newcastle or Brighton? I think the higher chance of a team getting a clean sheet is probably Newcastle. Brighton have looked poor in defense. They have conceded a lot of chances. Their XGC numbers are quite bad, considering the fact that they were against easier oppositions. So I'm expecting Newcastle to score. Maybe Brighton doesn't score. Who knows? But I think the more likely of the two to keep a clean sheet is probably going to be Newcastle. See, if you can take 2 free transfers for the break, that's probably the most ideal situation. But I mean, yeah, I still don't understand the logic behind the Sanchez to Edison. Maybe it's to basically cover off the Man City defense. And Edison, considering the fact that you feel that he's probably the most nailed option. But if it's this transfer versus the Rashford for Sterling, the more attacking is definitely going to be Rashford Sterling. But yeah, if you think that you want to give a chance to Rashford, fair enough. If you want to do the Sanchez to Edison move, you do that and save the other free transfer for the international break. I think that's also one way to look at it. Thoughts on triple captain Haaland? Can do, why not? But yeah, I mean, not a very bad option, to be very honest. But I'll probably still wait for double game weeks and all that stuff coming up, I think. But yeah, against Fulham, why not? I mean, it could be a good week to triple captain him. Start Pinnock or Estupinian, then start 2 of Rashford, Watkins, and Mitoma. I'll bench Mitoma. I'll start Rashford. I'll start Watkins. I'll start. I'll still start Estupinian. There's nothing wrong with starting Pinnock, but I'll still start Estupinian. Yeah. Bench Estupinian or Udogie. Out of the two, I'll bench Estupinian for sure. I'll play Udogie. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for the lovely comment and joining from Nepal. Thank you so much again. It really, really means a lot. I think I'll take the 2 free transfers or 2 transfers for the break in case of injuries. I mean, that's a fair assumption. There are always chances of players getting injured, players missing out, losing minutes. A lot could happen over the international break, and I think having 2 free transfers is the logical move to do. I think it's absolutely fine. Captain Mbomo, smart or dumb? I don't think so. It's dumb. I think it's risky. Could be rewarding as well, but could backfire. Still feel it's not the week to go against the mighty Haaland. That's just where I am. Madison or Sterling? Madison, the more safer, steady pick, gonna give you decent returns. Has decent numbers. I mean, if you compare his numbers, his goal threat numbers with Sterling, I think he still is doing better than Sterling, which is probably surprising to a lot of people. But I think Sterling still feels like the explosive pick who can, like, score a couple of goals, maybe a hat trick, can get those 19, 20, 25, who knows how many points. But yeah, I mean, those bigger hauls. But I think Madison, especially if you're buying this particular option for the slightly longer term, I think Madison's the one to go for. My heart would definitely say Sterling, because I like to go with my heart and, probably put my brain aside a little bit in the background and just play, have some fun. It's early in the season. I mean, we can make mistakes and we can kind of grow from there and move from there. You're the one to decide if I captain Mbomo or Haaland. You're 100k in the world. I'll still captain Haaland. I think ranks don't really matter right now too much, but I think I'll still captain Haaland. Not probably not the week to go against Haaland, as I've already said. Thank you, Ghost Gaming, for joining the stream and all your questions. I hope I was able to help. Do subscribe if you're new around here. Do hit the like button, guys. Please do hit the like button if you're liking the stream, enjoying the stream. 3 minutes to go. If you have some more questions, please feel free to ask or check, or if not, then just quickly go back to your team, see your transfers. I'll also do that before we are locked out of the servers and off the system. Let's just quickly see our team. Chilwell, Estepinian, Henry, Onana in goal, Foden, Mbomo, Sterling, Saka, Madison, Watkins, Haaland, Baldock, Bayer, Mubama, and Turner on the bench. I think, yeah, the team is saved. Your friend is captaining Chilwell. Interesting, am I right? I'm not captaining. No, I don't think so. I'm captaining Chilwell. If your friend is captaining Chilwell, that's also very, very brave. Yeah, could be really, really interesting. Sterling blanks. Too many people have him. I mean, he does, right? That's what happens in true FPL terms. You took out Martinelli. Martinelli is going to score. He's going to score goals. He's going to give points. A lot of people took out Rashford to get in Madison, Mitoma to get in Madison. Both of them will end up scoring, and Madison blanks. And that's just how FPL works. It's just the way FPL works. It's just the way we get punished every week for being very, very smart, but ultimately absolutely losing it. And, just thinking, why the hell did we make that move in the first place? So that's going to happen. So prepare yourself, brace yourself for impact and all that negativity that will come around, with those games. But I think it's going to be fun, and that's why we play and love this game anyways. Lovely stream. Thank you so much. Keep it up. Hope you reach 5k soon. Let's just hope so. We reach there very, very soon. But yeah, thank you for your love and support. Thank you for the lovely comment as well. Guys, 1 minute to go. And then it will be deadline. Any last words? Any last thoughts? Again, not the week to probably go against Haaland captain. Among Madison, Sterling, I still feel Sterling is a better option. Madison's a slightly long-term better pick. You don't have to take out Rashford, Bruno, Martinelli, or Saka. But if you're taking one out, I think Martinelli is probably the one that I'll probably take out. The United boys, I think if I'm taking one out, I think it'll be Rashford. -4 for Rashford to Pomo. I won't do it. I think I'll take my chances with Rashford. And that's it, guys. Deadline. I hope you were able to save your teams. You were able to make your transfers. -4 for Rashford, I won't take. Shifting out Rashford and getting in Bomo, I think I'll give it one more week to Rashford. See what happens next week, and I'll take my call. Auto sub. What do you mean auto sub? Auto sub is, in terms of which player is subbing in, I'm not sure what the question is, but yeah. Great, guys. Thank you so much again for joining the stream. I hope this was helpful. This was useful for you. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, again, small request, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. We do these deadline streams every week. And you can, of course, join us next week as well. And then, of course, ask a lot of questions, have some fun. and some banter as well. I think it's always great to watch some football, or at least catch some of it. We will be, of course, helping you out throughout the week with our blogs. If you've not checked it out, it's insanelyfootball.com. You can check it out. You can go to the blog. I think it's generally very, very helpful and useful. There's a lot of content on Instagram as well, Twitter as well, so you can check all these spaces. The handle sector, I think, would be in the in the description of of the stream, or in general as well. You can just find us at the rate Insanely Football. We're there in most of the places. Auto sub, like, who do you have? I have Baldock as my first sub, so in case if any of these players miss out, it'll be Baldock will be coming in. Because I think Bayer is injured, and Mobama is probably not gonna get minutes. I didn't bring in Sterling because I thought you wouldn't bring him in. I did bring him in, and I made the transfer a little earlier. I really yeah, I don't know what to say. But the plan was to bring in Sterling. And if you saw my video as well today, I did mention that I'll be most likely going with the second option, which was to basically bring in Madison and Sterling. But I mean, it's fine. Even if you didn't bring in Sterling, and I don't think so, it's a huge deal. It's not that he's going to change the entire FPL landscape. Fingers crossed. Let's just hope he doesn't, for your sake. And it's probably quite a week for Sterling. But yeah, I mean, if he does well, you can just bring him next week. I don't think so. It's a big deal. Right now, the points, the ranks, they don't really matter. It's kind of getting into that rhythm, and then playing your own game, understanding, analyzing patterns, and jumping onto patterns a lot earlier than the others. I think that's what makes your season anyway. So I think it should be fine. Great, guys. Thank you so much again. I think we'll call it a night. Hopefully, I can see you next week. And of course, you can join us, and we'll have the same fun. We'll have a lot of questions, a lot of dilemmas. It's the international break, I think, after this week. And I think it's going to be a good break for all of us. So do enjoy the break. Have lots of fun. Do watch some football as well. And of course, if you want to just, come and say hi to me, DMs are always open. You can always reach out to me on Instagram and Twitter, and we can always have a conversation. Thank you so much again. Accidentally Captain Lindelof because I was joking around. I just hope you didn't. I mean, yeah. God bless United, and let's see what happens with Arsenal. Hopefully we beat them. With that, I think we'll sign off. Have a good night, and have a good week as well. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.